right, so we're just keep going along with all the stuff we need to get done before winter. So inside the shipping container, what I've done, so I think you saw me run the electrical. So what I did was I ran a plug here. Excuse me. Anyway, ran the plug here and plugged my freezer in. So I had to thaw out my freezer and whatnot, but got it all plugged in, ready to go. Then I ran 2 more plugs over here. So then I got my other freezer plugged in, ready to go. She's working. I got, because like I said, we were getting meat put in here, we're getting meat put in here. Eventually we're probably gonna have to get another freezer, but that'll be down the line. But yeah, so I got these. I've got a light that I can plug in right here now. Goes up over there, you can kind of see it on. There, it turned off. I just got it hanging there on one of the hooks. It's like a tie down hook for the shipping container. Just got it hanging there. I got it so that I can plug my air compressor right into this outlet and it won't struggle to run, because with like on an extension cord, especially with a smaller gauge wire, the we don't call it the compressor will like bog down because it ain't got enough amperage to crank it on and build up pressure. So I did that, and then in here we added a few things. So I got my heater in here. I don't remember what else I did in here. See, I showed you the ceiling and everything. We got everything organized, but I added these shelves to the walk-in door. We're looking at getting a couple more, maybe a couple deeper baskets, to kind of utilize our space. So the door was kind of open. So we thought, let's put these baskets on there, because then we can put our bananas and whatever else on here that we need for storage. Just trying to utilize, man, I can't talk. Utilize the space as best as possible. So we did that. The other thing I did, well, one of these days I gotta get a door handle on this. So that's all. So I got my wires ran finally, and up into here I've got my outdoor outlet. I need to get another one, because when I went and got them, I didn't think I need another one for down there. But I'm not 100% sure on what I'm going to do yet there, because I thought about putting another plug here, just having 2 plugs, and then I can run my my plug for my heater, my block heater for my truck in over there. But anyway, that's another thing we added to propane tanks. We found these gauges that you can put in line that tells you how full your tanks are, so that way we can keep track and know that if we're getting low, we can watch and gauge how much propane we have on the property, so that way we don't run out, especially when winter's coming. This one just runs the dryer inside, so this one isn't like a big deal, but we got them on the camper too. But anyway, this is the cord now. So I took the cord that was running from the electrical pole down there and ran it, and I'm it was running from that pole down there all the way up to the well over by the camper. So I had disconnected that one and ran a whole new wire that runs, you can see it there, all of the yellow kind of blending in. It runs up that way around the tree, and then runs all the way up. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna go up here anyway, show you what we're doing. So this runs all the way up now to our well, which I've got the well open right at the moment apparently, but it runs all the way up into the well. And it goes down, and my well pump plugs into it. Now, this is our garden hose that comes out of our well, because it's tied into the well. It's just got a sand point right here, and it goes into the pump there, builds pressure, and then we got a pressure tank down there too, which I think I was telling you guys about this originally, how we had people out here that were supposed to fix it and get us right pressures and whatnot. Well, that didn't quite work out as well. So we've got it rigged up to where it builds pressure and we can use it and it's functional. But the problem is this pump system is supposed to be able to run a whole house, to where if you were taking a shower and doing dishes, you wouldn't have problem with pressure. There's also, like I say, the pressure tank down there. I don't know if the pressure tank was set right. One of these days I'll have to take all that apart, make sure, you know, drain it all out, make sure that it's got the right pressure and everything in the bladder, and so on and so forth. But like I said, we've got it to where we can use it, because if we're doing laundry and trying to do dishes or take a shower, it doesn't work, which normally that's not an issue for us because we're doing laundry during the day, taking showers at night, so don't normally have that problem. But anyway, what we've been doing, what we started on, is this right here. This is our heat tape, heat cord, whatever you want to call it. This is our regulator, so we figured that we probably want our regulator on the outside, so that way the colder temperatures down here or out here, so that way that regulator can determine on whether to put heat to it or not. Eventually, you can kind of see the round circular slab here. Eventually what I'm going to do is build an somewhat insulated well house. So I'm going to build a little building with just a door on the front of it right here on top of the well to make it a well house, so that way it kind of blocks all this stuff, and it'll kind of look like an outhouse, but but anyway, that's what we're going to do here. And you know, so that way this is all enclosed and we're not having people walking over top of it and stuff like that, which shouldn't have anybody out here doing it anyway. But I've had this open because we were doing the hose. So what we do is we run that wire all the way down our hose, and our hose runs out here. So instead of going from there straight to the camper, which I'd like to do, like I did with my electrical, and the reason why my electrical is the way it is because I have to be able to remove that wire to be able to get back in here with the tractor and start leveling all this back out. But if I have the wire and the water and all that ran straight, then I have to keep unhooking it and doing all that. But if I do this, I run it out here, run it around to as wide as I can, so that way I can stay away from it with the tractor, because I got to pull all this stuff out as wide as I can and flatten it out as much as I can. But anyway, I run that cord all the way down. You kind of seen us do this in another video. So what we're doing is basically it runs along this hose, and then we tape it every so often. I'll run it all the way down, and then it goes right into the bottom of our box. And that cord goes in not too far. It goes in about to right there where you see those pieces of tape. It goes into right there, which should be fine because inside the box and underneath should all be insulated. So what we're going to do there is like we did here. So this is our other water hose. This runs up to our wash shed, and same thing. We just put this heat tape or heat cord, or like I said, whatever you want to call it, taped it to the hose, and this is pretty thick hose, and then we put this foam around it. Well, they're just pool noodles, so that way the pool noodles will help insulate, and then when the cord's on, it'll help hold that heat into the hose. And like I said, this is just an experimental thing. We've talked to a few people, and said that they did the same thing. They just ran it down the hose or wrapped it around the hose and then put pool noodles on it. And other people say, well, you got to have different type of insulation and blah, 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 blah. Well, this is an experiment. We're going to see what happens. We've been told by people that they've done the heat tape with the pool noodles and it's worked just fine, laying right on top of the ground, even especially during colder days. But of course, you know, there's things that say, oh, it's going to burn holes in your hose and this and that. Well, we'll see what happens. So this is the way we're doing it, and we will keep you updated on what happens as we're doing it. So we got that taped. We're getting I got to finish this one because this one's not all the way done yet. So this one, I still have probably another good how many ever feet of it. So what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to pull this and get this tied to this tree and tied up to that post up there, so that way, you know, if it shifts or whatever, it's not actually going to move much. Then I got to pull this hose up underneath, and then I got to get under the camper, and then I'll start attaching this cord to some of the hose and stuff under the camper, so that way at least this cord, when it's plugged in, will still have some heat drawing into underneath the camper, which should be all right. But I'll run it through, and then I'll run it under and back over to this side of the camper, because here is where our water hookup is. So it ties right into the camper here, which I'll have to, it looks like I need to tighten up a couple connections. But what we'll have is, you know, pool noodle come up. Well, what I'm going to do is run that cord up and around and back down, and run it back underneath the camper, so that way, and then we'll wrap that with a pool noodle, like I said, so that way it is pretty well insulated. And of course I'll have my foam and stuff here that'll, you know, that'll keep all that warm. Now this little cutout right here, like I said, this is where our septic drain is, which I need to do some adjusting on, which no big deal. So my plan is I'm gonna have something to cover this right here, like a piece of wood or something, so it sits on top. So there'll just be a little hole right here. My plan is that when I drain it, so I got to get it to where when our gray water tank is full, we just go ahead and drain the black water tank, and then drain the gray water tank, and then I'll run all the water out of the hose, and then the hose will get brought back and then shoved up underneath here to help keep it warm. And I might run some of that cord up in here just to kind of give this area a little heat. I don't know. We're just experimenting at this point. We've never done this, so we're doing what we can. So what we're gonna do is we got all these pool noodles, and we've got yellow and red left. I got a whole bunch of them. I got to start cutting them in half. Not cutting them in half. I got to cut a slit in them so that way I can start wrapping them around the hose. So that's what we've been doing so far. So we got to get that wrapped, and then should be done with a few things. Oh, the other thing I did, my electrical connections for my camper. They've been fine out in the weather, but they just kind of wanted that extra protection. So Bug went out and had found these containers. They're just plastic. They look like what you'd use for like a tackle box or something. They had little dividers in them. But all I did was cut holes in the ends and then made a slit, so that way I can push the cords down in, and then when they were in, I can close it, and it does have a little sealing lock there. So I did it there, and I did it here. So now both my connections are technically waterproof. They'll be they'll be good enough. I mean, they've been getting rained on and stuff anyway, so, but I at least wanted to keep them protected away from, especially the leaves and stuff and whatnot, so that way there's like not a short and then it catches things on fire and whatever. So we did that also. But what we're gonna start on, like I said, I'm gonna start cutting pool noodles, and then we're gonna start wrapping that hose so we can keep it hopefully heated and not freezing over the winter. So anyway, that's what we're gonna start on. All right, so got it all done. I need an extra one here. This is all the pool noodles we had. I think we had, there was 20 per package, so we had 60 pool noodles altogether. Like you can see the red and the white, red and yellow. Wow, I don't know my colors. Can't talk, don't know my colors. All the way down and around. I need a pool noodle there, and then over there on the other side where I haven't finished yet, I need to get another pool. Well, I need like 2 more pool noodles, so altogether I need about 3 more pool noodles. Only problem was I probably would have had enough to do this side and finish it, but we've gotten a puppy, and somehow we had left it laying on the ground where she can get a hold of it, and she got one of the pool noodles and just shredded it. So we gotta have a couple more now. Problem is coming into the time where you know, pool noodles aren't exactly all right anyway, but yeah, she had shredded it and whatnot, and then like I said, right now is not a good time to buy pool noodles because we're going into winter, so you know, ain't nobody gonna have pool noodles. And the only way you can buy it offline, I guess, is to buy them 20 at a time, and I don't need 20 pool noodles, so we'll have to figure out what we're gonna do there. But anyway, yeah, look at this, our straw bales. Got grass growing. All of them. They're so wet, they're growing grass. Well, yeah, grass. I mean, it's straw. It's, you know, I guess it'd be called wheatgrass. But anyway, I can't wait to get well, winter over, and then all these straw bales will get spread out inside these trees, so that way it can start growing some into the ground. But anyway, that's all we're doing right at the moment. Not sure what we're doing next. Got to look at our list. So. All right, so what I was doing was running the heat tape so this is a heat cord, heat tape, whatever, all along our hose. So I still got to get a section, like I said, here, but I ran it all underneath and taped it all to the hose. I'm not going to insulate the hose underneath because everything underneath is basically already insulated. But with that cord underneath there, it'll help kind of heat underneath. But as you can see here, we got our straw bales and stuff. We've got buckets outside, and one is filled with kids' shoes, kids' outside coats, snow stuff, whatever we need, cold stuff. Hats, gloves, and then we got our shoes, boots, cold stuff, you know, coats, hats, gloves, whatever. That's our laundry basket. We just leave it outside because there's no room in the camper. So what else I've done, so I still got to finish that insulation on the hose. I gotta finish this little bit here, and over here, oh, I haven't finished it yet. So here's the other end of my hose, which I've got wrapped around that inlet. And what I'm gonna do is just kind of take this up so it's sticking up. So this morning when we came out, or when I went to come outside, I had tried to turn the water on, and what happened was it was frozen. So it got cold enough at night, it froze, and I didn't plug the cords in because I wanted to see how well these cords worked. And of course, you know, the water lines froze and everything. Electrical and all that works pretty good because I had my block heater plugged into my truck and everything's holding up there. So I had the heat tape plugged in this morning. Dog and cat, get out of here. Anyway, I plugged it in this morning and I stuck my hand on the heat tape and thought, oh, you know, it's heating up. Okay, so within, what? She's bugging me again. What? Okay, I'll be in a second. Coyotes are going nuts. Anyway, put the heat tape on, turned it on, and heating up and everything. Figured, you know, she was gonna text me and say, hey, you know, you got, or our water froze, and but I was hoping that maybe by the time, or at least by mid-morning, it would have been thawed out. But it wasn't till almost noon it thawed out, which, I mean, the sun comes up, everything starts to heat up a little bit. Thawed out, she got it going again, which is fine. She got laundry done and whatever. But I started looking into it and I thought, oh, you know, I wonder why that heat tape didn't thaw that out. And Bug was saying that, you know, it's a maintainer, not supposed to thaw it out, which I thought, well, that's probably true. But I also thought, like, I was testing the cord so I can see how well it does. So I was thinking that if it was frozen, all I'd have to do is plug it in, and then it would take a little bit to thaw out, but at least it would thaw it out because we have them wrapped with, you know, insulation. We got them wrapped in foam, so at least it's supposed to hold the heat in and hopefully thaw it out, which I think it did help a little bit. But just with me handling that, the cord was plugged in. I mean, it was warm, but it wasn't like it was hot. But it's also not that cold. So that end I showed you on the end of the cord. So the other end of the other cord is right here. I moved it outside. So this, from what I understand, is like the thermostat. So it's got to be out. This has got to be able to read the outside temperature. And then there's a regulator on it, which I'll show you up here because this one's closer. But I moved some things around to kind of get stuff situated. So like up here, this one is on, but there's a regulator right there at the beginning of the hose. So this regulator and that end on, or the other end, is like a thermostat. So that tells this when to turn on and off, and you know, supply power to the cord and all that crap. So I had this wrapped up in the foam and going kind of inside, not thinking that, oh, this end has to be exposed to the outside elements. The other end has to be exposed to the outside elements so that it can regulate the temperature of the cord properly. So now I've got on both cords the regulator out, and I have the thermostat out, and there's a little indicator on the cord that tells you that it's on. So now this cord is working, it's on, and that regulator, depending on how cold it gets, the more amperage it puts out, or voltage, not sure which one it does, but one or the other. But so, and this, like I say, this one's on, so this one's at least saying that it's cold enough that it needs to be on. The only problem is our hose is exposed, so it's probably going to freeze there. Quit. Puppies always chewing on everything. So, well, I don't have to go up there yet. This one though is not on. Well, it might have been on. It kind of feels warm a little bit, but this is also in a different part of our property, so up here it might be a little warmer, or up there it might be a little warmer where the regulator is. So you were getting that run, and we got to go get some some insulation. We looked at getting some pool noodles. We might end up just going and getting some actual foam insulation for it or something. We haven't quite figured out what we're doing there yet. But anyway, because we got to get those set up, because this weekend it's supposed to get even colder. So we'll see how well our water does then, and we'll update you with that too. But that is ran. We've got other things we got to do too. We got to get some vents and stuff. What else we did, which I don't know if it's going to create an issue or not. We'll have to see, because like right now it's cold out here, and there's moisture inside the windows. So as you can tell, we have insulation that covers the windows, on all our windows. You can kind of see it there. So that was another thing we did. Yeah, you can see them there. And there. So all our windows have insulation on it. We have to get a cover for our AC unit, so we can cover the top of that. That'll help hold heat in. The only thing is with that moisture in the windows, might also, we're going to try to maybe experiment with taking the insulation off and seeing how well it does there too. But like I said, we'll update you as much as we can, or well, when we can, on cold temperatures and whatnot. So I'll try to bring the camera along with us too when we do that, because I don't know, sometimes we just can't grab it and whatnot. But yeah, so that's what we got going on so far. And the box on the front of the camper is working out great. It's holding the heat in. We've been in it a few times, and it's pretty warm. We've got a heater in the shed, I think I showed. It's been working great. Of course, right now, as cold as it's got, I also got to put insulation on one door, and it'll help kind of insulate that more. I got to do that. I got to insulate the well. I got to get some panels and stuff put down for the well. Help kind of insulate that up a little bit. Yeah, just kind of doing things little by little on insulating, especially when it's getting colder here. So hopefully nothing freezes and we don't have any catastrophic issues. But our backup plan was to fill up our freshwater tank in the camper, so that way at least we'll have some water in the camper. Haven't done it yet, and I need to. But yeah, just moving right along. But yeah, that's gonna be it for now. We'll bring you along on what we're doing next. Not really sure. I might be putting swings up, because I just putting the swings up because that's what needs to be done. But we will be starting on the building soon again. Just trying to get everything in a row so that way we're set for the winter, and all we have to focus on is putting our building up. Yeah, putting our building up in the winter might be a little more challenging, but hey, you know what? People do it all the time. People put buildings up, you know, dead of winter in a lot of places. Just what you got to do. But we're not slowing down. We're still trying to keep going on. Of course, we did get slowed down a little bit. We had one of our kids in the hospital again, but he's doing good. We're getting back on the right path again. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. So hope you guys enjoyed it. This dog, I'm telling you, it's chewing up my mat now. Quit. Seriously. But anyway, thanks for watching. God bless you.